Ta Kim pressed his body against the cold metal wall. His heart beat fast, but his hands were steady. 6 years as a Marine captain in Earth's Ghost Division had taught him to stay calm even when death was near. The purple lights of the Empire ship flashed above. Tide was not supposed to be here. This moon was deep in Empire space, far from Earth Alliance territory. But his mission was clear: get information about the Empire's new weapon and get out without being seen. That second part hadn't gone well. Movement in Section 12B, a metallic voice said over the ship's speakers. All units respond. Tai checked his gun. 2 shots left. Not enough. I need a new plan, he whispered to himself. The small device in his pocket held all the information Earth needed. If he could just reach his hidden ship 3 miles away, the mission would be a success. Heavy footsteps came from both ends of the hallway. Ta looked up. The air vent above might work. He jumped, pulled himself up, and crawled into the narrow space just as 6 Empire soldiers rounded the corner. The human was here, said one soldier, his gray skin reflecting the purple lights. The heat trackers show it. Tom moved silently through the vent system, following the path to the outer doors from memory. When he reached the exit point, he peeked through the grate. 2 guards stood below. Just my luck, he muttered. He would have to be fast. Ta kicked the grate open and dropped down. Before the first guard could raise his weapon, Ta struck him in the throat. The second guard fired. The shot missed, hitting the wall as Tai rolled and came up with a punch that knocked the guard back. Tai ran for the doors. Freedom was just ahead. He pressed his hand against the scanner and waited for it to reject his print. When it did, alarms would sound, but the doors would open for 3 seconds, just enough time to slip through. The scanner flashed red. The alarm screamed. The doors began to open. Then pain exploded in Ta's back. He fell forward, his legs suddenly not working. Through blurry eyes, he saw a tall figure standing over him. Impressive for a mercenary, said a calm voice. Most don't make it this far. Tai tried to reach for his gun, but his arms wouldn't move. The stun blast had hit him perfectly. I'm just a traitor, Tai lied, his voice weak. Got lost. The figure stepped into the light. It was a man with pale skin and sharp eyes. His uniform showed high rank in the Empire forces. I am Commander Bo-Ri, the man said, kneeling beside Ta. And you are no traitor. Bo-Ri reached into Ta's pocket and pulled out the small device. He studied it with interest. You will tell us who sent you and what you were looking for, Bo-Ri said. Eventually, everyone talks at Nebula Station. Tai felt cold fear at those words. Nebula Station was the Empire's most secure prison. No one had ever escaped from it. When Tai woke again, he was in a small metal room that moved, a prison transport. His hands and feet were bound with energy cuffs. His head pounded. Through a small window, he saw it, Nebula Station. The massive prison hung in space like a spider, its long arms stretching out from a central hub. Behind it glowed the dying red star it orbited. Home sweet home, said a guard, watching Ta stare at the station. At least until you die. Ta said nothing. His mission had failed. He was captured. But as the transport docked with the station, one thought kept him calm. The Ghost Division never abandoned its own. They would come for him. What Ta didn't know was that they wouldn't need to, because soon he would bring Nebula Station to them. Tai stared at the ceiling of his cell. 3 days in Nebula Prison Station had taught him much. The guards changed shifts every 8 hours. The cameras moved in patterns. The food came twice a day. All information he could use. Prisoner 7734, stand for inspection, a voice commanded through the speaker. Ta stood as the cell door slid open. 2 guards entered, their weapons ready. Arms out, one ordered. As Tai extended his arms, he noticed a small flaw in the guard's armor near the neck. Another detail for later. After the inspection, they took him to the work area. Hundreds of prisoners from many planets sorted through space junk. The Empire used them for free labor. New guy, over here, someone called softly. Ta walked toward the voice. A thin man with clever eyes waved him over. I'm Jin, the man said, not looking up from his work. You're the human they caught last week. Ta, he answered, picking up some metal parts to sort. What are you in for? Jin smiled slightly. I built things the Empire didn't like. Things that could hurt their ships. Ta nodded. An engineer. Useful. Watch for the guards with red stripes, Jin warned. They enjoy hurting us. As they worked, Jin pointed out others in the room. The woman at the end table, that's Hana. Best pilot I've ever seen. Empire caught her running supplies to rebels 3 years ago. Ta glanced at the woman with short hair and a scar across her cheek. She worked quickly, her eyes always moving, watching everything. And the big guy by the door? Ta asked. Dak. Avoid him. He tells the guards everything. For hours, Ta sorted parts while learning about the prison. Jin knew every corner of the station. They keep the really dangerous prisoners on level 5, Jin explained. Political ones go to level 3. We never see level 8. No one knows what's down there. Tay's training told him to remember this. Level 8 was important. After work, guards took them to the meal hall. As Tai carried his tray of gray food, someone bumped him hard. Watch it, human, growled a large prisoner with scale-like skin. Ta stepped back, avoiding a fight. Not yet. Not until he knew more. He sat beside Jin, who made room for him. That's Gruk, Jin said quietly. He runs things in our block. Stay clear of him. Hana sat across from them, studying Ta with sharp eyes. You move like a soldier, she said suddenly. Not a traitor like they say. Ta met her gaze. We all have secrets here. Hana nodded. True enough. She leaned forward. If you're planning anything, I know the guard rotations and ship schedules. Just saying. After the meal, back in his cell, Tai heard footsteps stop outside. The door opened, revealing Commander Bo-ri himself. Comfortable, 7734. Bo-ri asked, entering the small space. The beds could be softer, Tai replied. Bo-ri smiled without warmth. I've been looking into your background. Interesting that we can find almost nothing. I'm not interesting, Ta said. I think you are. Bo-ri circled the cell. Most prisoners break in the first week. They cry, beg, try to escape. But you watch. You wait. Like you're trained to. He stopped directly in front of Ta. What were you really doing on that moon? Wrong place, wrong time, Ta said. Bo-ri's eyes narrowed. We'll find out who you are. The Empire always does. After Bo-ri left, Ta lay on his bed, thinking. The commander was smart, dangerous. But the visit told Tai something important. They didn't know who he really was. His cover as a simple mercenary was still working. He closed his eyes, remembering the path from his cell to the work area, to the meal hall, and back. 23 cameras, 14 guard posts, 6 possible escape routes. Not enough yet, but soon. In the darkness of his cell, Ta Kim began to plan. 2 weeks passed. Ta followed the prison routine, keeping his head down, but his eyes missed nothing. Mail call, a guard announced, dropping packages and letters onto a table in the common area. Prisoners rushed forward. Mail was rare at Nebula Station. Kim, Ta, the guard called, holding up a small envelope. Ta froze. He had no family who would write. This was something else. He took the envelope and returned to a quiet corner. Jin and Hana joined him. Who writes to you? Hana asked. We'll see, Tay replied, carefully opening the letter. Inside was a simple note with a photo of a smiling family, people Ta had never seen before. The note read, Asterisk, dear brother, asterisk. Asterisk, we hope you are well. Mom misses your help in the garden, especially with the roses and lilies. Dad fixed the broken step, finally. Little Rin started school and loves counting to 20. We think of you every day at 8:05 when we see the stars asterisk. Asterisk, come home soon. Asterisk. Asterisk, your loving family asterisk. Tai stared at the letter. To anyone else, it looked like a normal family note, but Tai saw the real message. Roses and lilies. RL broken step. Step down. Counting to 20. Level 20. The time 8:05 was 25 in military time. His orders were clear. Go to level 20, the lowest level of the station, at 25 hours. Bad news? Jin asked, seeing Ta's face. No, Ta said, tucking the letter away. Just missing home. Later that day in the work area, Ta moved near Hana. I need to know how to get to the lower levels, he whispered. Hana didn't look up. Why? I have my reasons. Level 6 is as far down as prisoners go, she said. Below that, you need special passes. But it's possible. She glanced at him. Maintenance crews go down. They wear blue uniforms and carry special cards, but you'd need both to pass the scanners. Ta nodded. Thanks. That night, Ta waited until the cell block was quiet. The small piece of metal he had taken from the work area was hidden in his shoe. He worked it between the panels of his cell wall, prying one loose just enough to reach the wires behind. With careful movements, he crossed 2 wires. The cell door's lock clicked. Ta didn't open it yet. First, he needed to time the guard patrol. 3 minutes passed. Footsteps approached, then faded. He had 12 minutes until the next patrol. Sliding out of his cell, Ta moved silently down the corridor. He had memorized the blind spots of the cameras. At the end of the hall was a maintenance closet. Inside, he found what he needed, a blue uniform. Changing quickly, Ta took the service ladder down. Level 7, Level 10, Level 15. At level 20, he paused. The air felt different here, colder, with a strange hum. He stepped off the ladder into a dimly lit corridor. No guards in sight. Following the humming sound, Ta came to a large observation window. What he saw made his blood freeze. Beyond the glass was an enormous room with a device at its center. Scientists worked around it, adjusting controls. The device had a core that glowed like the dying star outside the station. The Star Eater, Ta whispered. Earth intelligence had been right. The Empire was building a weapon that could drain the energy from stars, killing entire systems. Suddenly, alarms blared. A voice came over the speakers. Security breach. Level 20. All personnel respond. Tay turned to run, but stopped when he saw a figure at the end of the corridor. Bo Ri stood with his weapon drawn. I knew you were no ordinary prisoner, he said. What are you? A spy. Rebel? Ta looked for an escape route. There was none. Commander, came another voice. A scientist approached from behind Bo Ri. We need you. The test is starting. Bo Ri hesitated. Lock down this level. I'll deal with the prisoner after the test. As Bo Ri turned to follow the scientist, Ta slipped into a side passage. He needed to get back to his cell before they realized which prisoner had escaped, and he needed to tell the others what he had seen. The weapon had to be stopped, even if it meant taking down the entire prison. Tai made it back to his cell just before the full lockdown. His heart raced as guards rushed past, searching for the intruder. The next morning, Jin found him in the meal hall. Everyone's talking about the alert last night, Jin whispered. Someone got to level 20. Was it you? Ta looked around before nodding slightly. Are you crazy? Jin hissed. What did you see down there? Something that could kill billions, Ta said. We need to talk, somewhere safe. Later, in the work area, Ta, Jin, and Hana gathered in the corner behind tall piles of scrap metal. The Empire is building a weapon, Ta explained. It can drain the energy from stars. Hana's face went pale. That's why we're orbiting a dying star. They're testing it. We need to stop it, Ta said. Jin laughed without humor. 3 prisoners against the Empire. Impossible. Not 3, Tay replied. Everyone. We're going to take this whole station. Both stared at him as if he had lost his mind. How? Hannah finally asked. First, we need tools, weapons, and access cards. Can you help? Jin nodded slowly. I can make things from parts in here, but we need more people. I know who to trust, Hannah said. There's a group on level 3, political prisoners. They hate the Empire more than anyone. Good, Ta said. We start today. Over the next week, they gathered allies and resources. Jin created small devices from stolen parts, signal jammers, makeshift tools, even simple weapons. Hannah contacted the prisoners on level 3 through a kitchen worker. Soon, 20 more joined their plan. Tay assigned tasks based on skills. Some would create distractions. Others would secure escape routes. A few would help take the control room. What about him? Hannah asked one day, nodding toward a quiet prisoner who always sat alone. Sol? What's his story? Tai asked. Former Empire pilot. He might know the ship systems, Jin said. Tai approached Sol carefully. The man looked up with tired eyes. I heard you're planning something, Sol said before Tai could speak. Tai tensed, ready to deny everything. Don't worry, Sol continued. I won't tell. In fact, I want to help. Why would an Empire pilot help us? Sol's eyes hardened. They killed my family when I refused to bomb civilians. I know how their ships work. I can fly anything they have. Ta nodded. We'll talk later. As they were returning to their cells that evening, guards surrounded Ta. Prisoner 7734, come with us, one ordered. They took him to a small room where Bo-ri waited. Sit, Bo-ri commanded. Tai sat, keeping his face blank. Someone accessed level 20 last week, Bo-ri said. We checked the security footage. There was a glitch, exactly 3 minutes of missing time. Very professional. Sounds like you have a security problem, Tai replied. Bo-ri leaned forward. We found this in your cell. He held up a small metal tool Jin had made. Tai's stomach sank. Prisoners who break rules go to isolation on level 7, Bo-ri said. But I'm curious about you. So instead, I'm assigning you to waste disposal, the hardest work on the station. Tai realized this might actually help their plan. Waste disposal workers moved throughout the entire station. Who are you working with? Bo-ri asked suddenly. No one, Tai answered. Bo-ri studied his face. You Earth soldiers are loyal. I'll give you that. Ta kept his expression neutral, but inside, he froze. Bo-ri knew. Yes, we figured it out. Bo-ri continued. Earth Alliance Ghost Division. Very elite. The question is, what was important enough to send you here? Ta said nothing. Bo-ri stood. Your work assignment starts tomorrow, and I'll be watching your every move. After Bo-ri left, guards took Ta back to his cell. This changed everything. Bo-ri knew who he was. They needed to move faster. That night, Ta scratched a message to Jin and Hannah on a food tray. Tulan staarfhes, tomoro. Ta pushed the large waste cart down the empty hallway. His new job gave him access to many parts of the station. Perfect for what he needed. As he worked, he mapped every corner of Nebula Station in his mind. Each door, each guard post, each camera. He collected small items along the way. A key card dropped by a scientist, tools left by repair workers, even pieces of communication devices. Prisoner 7734 moved to level 15 for cleanup, a voice ordered through his work radio. Yes, sir, Tai answered. Level 15 was close to where he needed to go. As he pushed his cart into the elevator, he slipped Jin's small device from his pocket. It would block the camera in the elevator for 30 seconds. He pressed the button for level 15, then quickly hit the emergency stop button when the doors close. Working fast, he opened the control panel and rewired it. The elevator began moving again. but now heading to level 18. When the doors opened, Tai pushed his cart out and moved quickly down the hallway. He had only minutes before they noticed he was in the wrong place. At the end of the hall stood a heavy door marked Research Archives. Using the stolen key card, he entered. Inside were rows of computer terminals. Tai went to the nearest one and inserted a small device Jin had made to bypass the security. The screen came to life, showing files about the weapon project. Tai's eyes widened as he read. Project Star Eater, test phase complete. Ready for deployment against System KX-9. System KX-9 was a group of planets that had refused to join the Empire. Millions of people lived there. Tai downloaded the files to Jin's device. As he worked, he found something else. Detailed plans of Nebula Station itself. He downloaded those too. Suddenly, alarms began to sound. Security alert. Unauthorized access on level 18. All units respond. Tai pulled the device from the computer and hurried to his cart. He had to get back to the elevator before guards arrived. As he turned a corner, he ran straight into a guard. "You, stop right there," the guard shouted, reaching for his weapon. Tai didn't hesitate. He swung the heavy cleaning tool from his cart, knocking the guard unconscious. Dragging the body into a storage room, Tai took the guard's uniform and weapon. Now dressed as a guard, he walked quickly toward the elevator. 2 real guards ran past him toward the archive room. "The prisoner went that way," Tai called to them, pointing in the opposite direction. They nodded and changed course. Back in the elevator, Tai returned to level 6 where waste workers were supposed to be. He changed back into his prisoner uniform in a cleaning closet and continued his work as if nothing had happened. That night, in the meal hall, he sat with Jin, Hana, and Sul. "I got it," he whispered, passing the device to Jin under the table. Jin took it and nodded. "I'll look at it tonight." "There's more," Tai said quietly. "The weapon is ready. They're planning to use it on System KX-9 soon." Hana's face darkened. "My home is in that system." "Mine too," said Sul. "How much time do we have?" Jin asked. 3 days, maybe less," Tai answered. "We need to move now." As they talked, Ta noticed Bo-Ri watching them from across the room. The commander's eyes never left their table. "We have another problem," Ta said. "Bo-Ri suspects something. He's watching us." "What do we do?" Hana asked. "We stick to the plan," Ta said firmly. "Jin, can you finish the main device by tomorrow?" Jin nodded. "It will disable the power grid for exactly 3 minutes. After that, backup systems will start." "That's all we need," Ta said. "Hana, tell the others. We move tomorrow during the shift change." As they left the meal hall, Bo-Ri stepped into their path. "Enjoying your new work, 7734? He asked, smiling coldly. "Yes, Commander," Tai answered. "Very educational." "I'm sure it is," Bo-Ri said. "Sleep well tonight. Tomorrow will be interesting." As Bo-Ri walked away, Tai felt a chill. The commander knew something. Time was running out. Morning came too quickly. Tai lay awake in his cell, going over the plan one more time in his mind. Everything had to work perfectly. The door slid open for the morning meal. As Tai walked to the meal hall, he passed Jin, who nodded slightly. The signal device was ready. In the meal hall, Tai saw that their allies now numbered over 50, prisoners from all levels who hated the Empire. They sat in small groups, trying not to look suspicious. Hana joined Ta in the food line. "Sol got word to level 3, she whispered. "They're ready." "And the supply ship?" Tai asked. "Arrives at 1400 hours. We'll have 10 minutes while they load and unload." Ta nodded. The supply ship was key to their plan. But as he turned, he saw Bo-Ri enter the hall with 6 armed guards. "Everyone remain seated," Bo-Ri announced. "We have a security check today." The commander walked slowly between the tables, stopping at random prisoners and checking their IDs. He was moving toward Ta. "He knows," Hana whispered. "Stick to the plan," Ta said calmly. "Tell Jin to start the device at 13:55 hours, no matter what." Hana slipped away as Bo-Ri approached Ta's table. "Prisoner 7734, Bo-Ri said with a cold smile. "Come with me." Ta stood, showing no fear. Two guards grabbed his arms and led him out of the hall, following Bo-Ri. They took him to a small room with a single chair. The walls were bare metal. This was an interrogation room. "Sit," Bo-Ri ordered. Tai sat. The guards remained by the door. "I know what you're planning," Bo-Ri said, pacing around the chair. "A prison break. Very ambitious." Ta said nothing. "We found these in the waste disposal unit," Bo-Ri continued, holding up several of Jin's small devices. "Clever work. Your friend Jin is quite talented." Tay's heart sank. They knew about Jin. "What I don't understand," Bo-Ri said, leaning close, "is why a Ghost Division captain would risk everything for a simple escape. There's more to your mission, isn't there?" Ta met his eyes but remained silent. Bo-Ri sighed. "Have it your way. Guards, take him to level 7, isolation cell. I'll deal with the others now." As the guards moved to take him, the lights suddenly flickered. Jin had activated the device early. The room went completely dark. Emergency red lights came on seconds later. "Power failure," one guard shouted. "Check the backup systems," Bo-Ri ordered, reaching for his communicator. In that moment of confusion, Ta moved. His Ghost Division training had prepared him for exactly this situation. He spun from the chair, striking the nearest guard in the throat. Before the other could react, Ta had taken his weapon and knocked him unconscious with it. Bo-Ri drew his own weapon, but Tai was faster. He tackled the commander to the floor. They struggled in the dim red light. "You're making a mistake," Bo-Ri gasped as Tai pinned him down. "The Empire will find you." "Not where we're going," Tai replied, striking Bo-Ri's head against the floor. The commander went limp. Taking Bo-Ri's key card and weapon, Tai ran into the hallway. All around, alarms were blaring. Through the windows, he could see the supply ship just docking with the station. He had to reach the control center on level 1. Racing through the corridors, Ta saw other prisoners fighting guards. The plan was working. Jin must have told everyone to move early when they took Tai away. Near the elevator to the upper levels, Ta found Hana and Sul fighting off 2 guards. "Ta," Hana called. "We thought they had you." "Change of plans," Ta said, helping them defeat the guards. Jin started early. "He had to," Sul explained. "They were rounding up everyone on your list." Together, they entered the elevator. Ta used Bo-Ri's key card to override the controls. "Level 1, he said. "Time to take this station." As the elevator doors closed, Ta checked his weapon. The real fight was just beginning. The elevator doors opened to chaos on level 1. Guards ran in all directions. Alarms screamed. Red emergency lights flashed. "This way," Ta said, leading Hana and Sul down the corridor. They moved quickly, using the confusion to their advantage. Most guards were heading to the lower levels where prisoners were fighting. "The control center is at the end of this hall," Hana said. They turned a corner and stopped. 5 guards stood outside the control center door, weapons ready. "We need a distraction," Ta whispered. Sul nodded and moved away, disappearing down a side corridor. Moments later, an explosion rocked the far end of the hall. The guards turned toward the noise. "Now," Ta shouted. They rushed forward. Ta fired his stolen weapon, hitting 2 guards. Hana tackled another. In seconds, all 5 were down. "Nice work with that explosion," Ta said when Sul rejoined them. Sul smiled. "Jin's devices are very useful." Using Bo-Ri's key card, they entered the control center. Inside, 3 Empire officers stared at them in shock. This ship is now ours, Tai announced. One officer reached for an alarm button, but Hana was faster. She knocked him unconscious with a quick strike. Tie them up, Tai ordered as he moved to the main control panel. The screens showed fighting across the station. Prisoners were winning on most levels. But on level 4, guards had trapped a group of rebels. Tai pressed the communication button. Jin, can you hear me? After a moment of static, Jin's voice came through. Tai, you made it. We have the control center. What's your status? Almost to the engine room on level 6. But we need help. Guards are everywhere. Ta looked at the security controls. I'm opening all cell doors. That should keep the guards busy. With a few keystrokes, every cell on the station unlocked. On the screens, hundreds more prisoners poured into the corridors. That should help, Ta said. Get to the engine room. We need those engines online. What about the weapon? Hana asked, pointing to a screen showing level 20. Tai saw scientists working frantically around the Star Eater device. They're still planning to use it, he realized. We need to stop them. I can fly the station, Sol said, examining the navigation controls. But I need full power to the engines. We'll get it, Ta promised. He turned to Hana. Take control here. Keep the rebels organized. Sul, prepare for launch. I'm going to level 20. As Tai headed for the door, it slid open. Bo-Ri stood there, blood running down his face from their earlier fight. He held a high-powered weapon aimed at Ta's chest. No one is going anywhere, Bo-Ri said, stepping into the room. 3 guards followed him, weapons ready. It's over, Commander, Ta said. The prisoners control most of the station. You think I care about prisoners? Bo-Ri laughed. The weapon is all that matters. In 1 hour, it will fire on System KX-9, and the Empire will have the power to control every star in the galaxy. Why? Hana asked. Why kill billions of innocent people? Because they resist, Bo-Ri answered. The Empire must rule all. While they talked, Ta noticed one of Jin's devices attached to the wall behind Bo-Ri. Jin must have placed it earlier. You're wrong, Ta said, stepping forward slowly. There's something stronger than the Empire. What's that? Bo-Ri asked with a sneer. Freedom, Tai replied. At that moment, the device activated. A blinding flash filled the room. Bo-Ri and his guards covered their eyes. Ta moved instantly, knocking the weapon from Bo-Ri's hands. Sul and Hana tackled the guards. In seconds, the fight was over. Bo-Ri lay on the floor, Ta's foot on his chest, and a weapon pointed at his head. You can't win, Bo-Ri spat. Empire ships are already on their way. Ta looked at the radar screen. Bo-Ri was telling the truth. 5 Empire battleships were approaching fast. Then we better hurry, Ta said. He pressed the communication button again. Jin, we need those engines now. You can't move a space station, Bo-Ri said from where they had tied him to a chair. It's impossible. Tai ignored him, watching the screens. The Empire ships would arrive in 30 minutes. The weapon would fire in less than an hour. Time was running out. Jin, what's happening? Tai asked over the communication system. We have the engine room, Jin's voice replied. But there's a problem. The main controls are locked from level 20. Someone has to go there and reset them. Tai looked at Hana and Sul. I'll go. You two prepare everything here. I'm coming with you, a voice said from the doorway. Everyone turned to see Jin standing there, his clothes torn and dirty from fighting. The others can finish in the engine room, Jin said. You'll need my help with the controls on level 20. Ta nodded. Let's go. As they headed for the door, Bo-Ri called out, You're all going to die. The guards on level 20 will kill you. Tai turned back. What do you know about level 20? Everything, Bo-Ri said with a smile. I designed the security systems myself. Tai thought for a moment. You're coming with us. What? Hana asked in surprise. He knows the systems, Tai explained. We need him. They untied Bo-ri, but kept his hands bound and a weapon at his back. Together, they headed to the elevator. As they descended to level 20, the station shook violently. What was that? Jin asked, grabbing the wall for support. The weapon, Bo-ri said. They're starting it early. When the elevator doors opened, they saw guards and scientists running in panic. No one paid attention to them. The control room is this way, Bo-ri said, nodding down a hallway. Tug kept his weapon pressed against Bo-ri's back as they followed his directions. They reached a large door marked Primary Systems Control. It needs my handprint and code, Bo-ri said. Todd pressed the weapon harder. No tricks. Bo-ri placed his hand on the scanner and entered a code. The door slid open. Inside, screens showed the massive Star Eater weapon powering up. Energy flowed from the dying star into the device. Stop the weapon, Tai ordered Bo-ri. I can't, Bo-ri replied. It's already in the final sequence. Jin pushed past them to the control panel. I can try to redirect it. He worked quickly, fingers flying over the controls. I can't stop it, but I can change what it powers. Instead of firing at System KX-9, it can power the station's engines. Do it, Ta said. Jin nodded, continuing to work. But we'll need the navigation codes to move the station. Everyone looked at Bo-ri. I won't help you, he said firmly. Todd put his weapon down. Commander, listen to me. You don't have to die today. None of us do. But if you don't help us, everyone on this station will die when those Empire ships arrive. Bo-ri stared at him. Why should I care? I've served the Empire my whole life. And what has it given you in return? Tai asked. They're ready to sacrifice you and everyone else here for a weapon. Bo-ri looked at the screens showing the approaching ships. Then he looked at the Star Eater weapon. My home planet was the first one the Empire took, he said quietly. They told us it was for protection. Then they turned our people into soldiers and servants. He was silent for a long moment. Then he stepped forward. Move aside, he told Jin. I'll enter the codes. Bo-ri's fingers moved across the controls. Suddenly, the station shook again. What's happening? Tai asked. I've redirected the Star Eater's power to the main engines, Bo-ri explained, and I've set a course away from Empire space. On the screens, they could see the station beginning to move. The massive structure was slowly pulling away from the dying star. The communication system crackled. This is Seoul. Something's happening. The station is moving on its own. Get ready, Tai replied. We're coming to the bridge. Prepare for light jump. As they hurried back to the elevator, Jin looked at the sensors. The Empire ships are almost here. They'll be in firing range in 2 minutes. Tai smiled. They'll be firing at empty space. Let's go. The entire prison station, carrying thousands of prisoners, guards, and the powerful Star Eater weapon, began to glow with energy as it prepared for the impossible, a faster-than-light jump. The bridge of Nebula Station was packed with people, former prisoners, guards who had chosen to help, and a core team who had made it all possible. Empire ships in firing range, Seoul announced from the navigation controls. 30 seconds to light jump. On the main screen, they could see 5 massive Empire battleships approaching fast. The ships were already firing warning shots. Everyone hold on, Tai ordered. This might be rough. The entire station hummed with energy diverted from the Star Eater. Lights flickered. The floor vibrated beneath their feet. 20 seconds, Seoul counted down. Bo-ri stood beside Ta, watching the Empire ships grow larger on the screen. I never thought I'd run from the Empire, he said quietly. You're not running, Tai replied. You're choosing freedom. 10 seconds, Seoul called. Jin worked frantically at a control panel. The power flow is stable. We should make it. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. A blinding flash filled the bridge. Everyone grabbed onto something as the station lurched violently. The stars on the screen stretched into lines of light, then disappeared completely. For a moment, there was total silence. Then slowly, the normal lights came back on. The vibrations stopped. Did it work? Hannah asked. Sol checked the navigation system. Yes, we're out of Empire space, in the neutral zone between galaxies. A cheer went up from everyone on the bridge. They had done the impossible, moved an entire prison station across space. Tai turned to a communication panel. This is Captain Ta Kim to all decks. We have successfully escaped the Empire. We are safe. Throughout the station, cheers erupted as thousands of former prisoners celebrated their freedom. What now? Jin asked as things quieted down. It was a good question. They had a space station full of people from different worlds, with nowhere to go. First, we contact Earth Alliance, Ta said. They need the information about the Star Eater weapon. He sat at the communication station and entered a special code, one only Ghost Division operatives knew. After a moment, a voice responded. This is Earth Alliance Command. Identify. Captain Ta Kim, Ghost Division, authorization code Bravo, Co 7-732-4, Tai replied. Mission accomplished. There was a pause before the voice returned, sounding shocked. Captain Kim, we thought you were dead. What's your situation? Ta smiled. I've acquired the weapon information as ordered, and I brought some friends, about 3,000 of them, on a slightly borrowed space station. Ed, what? The voice asked in disbelief. I'll explain when we arrive. Sending coordinates now. After ending the transmission, Tai turned to face everyone on the bridge. They were looking at him, waiting for guidance. We have choices to make, he said. Some of you may want to return to your homeworlds. Earth Alliance will help with that. And the others? Hannah asked. Tai looked at the station schematics on a nearby screen. This station has everything needed for a permanent home. Living spaces, food production, power. We could make something new here. Bo Ri stepped forward. A free colony, outside Empire control. Exactly, Tai agreed. A place where anyone can live without fear, regardless of their species or past. Jin smiled. It would need a new name. Nebula Prison Station doesn't sound very welcoming. Freedom Point, Sol suggested. Everyone nodded in agreement. In the days that followed, Ta sent the weapon data to Earth Alliance. As promised, they helped those who wanted to return home. But most chose to stay. The prison cells were converted into proper living quarters. The security systems were reprogrammed to protect rather than contain. Gardens were planted in unused spaces. 1 month after their escape, Ta stood at a viewport, looking out at the stars. Bo Ri joined him. The Empire is still searching for us, Bo Ri said. They've sent ships to every nearby system. Let them search, Tai replied. They won't find us. And the Star Eater, Jin has modified it. It now powers the station without harming stars. We'll never use it as a weapon. Bo Ri nodded, satisfied. You know, when they first brought you to my prison, I thought you were just another prisoner to break. Ta smiled. And now I understand what makes humans so dangerous to the Empire. It's not your strength or your technology. What is it then? Bo Ri looked out at the stars. Hope. You never stop hoping for something better. As they stood there, Freedom Point continued its journey through space, no longer a prison, but a home to thousands who had once been captives and were now pioneers of a new world. The Galactic Empire had captured an ex-Marine, and they had lost an entire prison.